DemocracyKit is an initiative of the Open Democracy Project. It is working to open up the democratic process for municipal campaigns by publishing a package of online resources donated from local campaigners. So the presenters are Chris, who's making his way up. He's the founder of DemocracyKit, and Katie Gilfillan, who is the Toronto chair of DemocracyKit. So.
Great, thanks so much, Sharon. We are going to record this because we want to send this around to our folks, our friends in Ottawa and other places. So thank you for the opportunity to do this update. First of all, so Mike, are we good to go? All right, great. So again, hi everybody. It's hard to believe in some ways that it, like last time I stood up and talked to you, it was just 4 months ago. It feels like lots happened since then, and you know, we're super excited to be giving this update and talking to you a bit about how DemocracyKit's being built, as well as how it's being led. Okay, so we'll dive right in. So first of all, how DemocracyKit's being built, and this is the content publishing model. So last time I stood in front of you, I said we were going to be running roundtables. Those happened through the fall and into January, and resulted in 13 structure for the kit, 13 modules. I'm not expecting you're going to be able to read the slide, but those are from the Explorer of candidates, participants exploring the process of getting ready for a campaign, preparing to run a campaign, and then actually running a campaign. There are hundreds of topics and subtopics, resources that we want in the kit, but it gives the high-level structure. And what we're doing now is we're hosting we're calling content workshops. Okay, so what these are, we just had one on this past weekend where we're sitting down with content experts and we're actually identifying specific resources that they want to contribute to the kit. And our amazing group of volunteers are sort of stewarding those resources and supporting those experts in contributing content. And so, for example, on the weekend we had Stu, who's run 2 municipal trustee campaigns in Scarborough. He's going to be giving an overview, beginning to end, of what it means to manage a trustee campaign, as with all the key milestones, and he's going to have a reflection on that process, as well as reflect on what it meant to lose a campaign, and then pull through that, and then run again and win a successful campaign for Parti Canada. And actually, just one more example. Where we had Eric McGoy, he's going to be talking about the councillor campaign and contents of a canvas kit. This is practically speaking what a resource might look like in the kit. This is from a municipal campaign, sort of a strategy framework when you're in the prepare phase and thinking through what the functional areas of your campaign are going to be. And can move ahead. And for example, like a comms calendar plan for a typical race. So this just gives you a snapshot of the type of resources that are going to be in DemocracyKit and how we're going about building it.
Sure. So while all this work has been happening on building the actual resources and putting them together, we've also been building out our leadership development team. And we're really focused on a distributed team, as mentioned here. And so what we've started is we have this Toronto group, which we're really thankful to the Civic Tech community because that's really what has helped us grow and really recruit awesome people to help us make a lot of progress in this really short period of time. So we have a number of volunteers who are here today, but the way we kind of structure ourselves is I'm the Toronto chair, and my job is really to help see DemocracyKit grow in the city. So we also have a group in Ottawa that's getting started, similar to what we're doing here. We also have a regional exec, and so the idea is that we'll all kind of work together, share resources, each of us will have a role. So we have listed here as well examples of advisory groups that are getting off the ground. Youth in politics, women in politics, diversity in politics, and open political leadership. So the idea with these is we have a lead for each one, and then they'll provide a specific lens to all of the work that we do, specifically the resources. And this has been a really important part of our the beginning stages of our community being built online, which Chris is going to talk about. But I also just wanted to mention in the next couple of months, we're going to be hosting some really great events in Toronto that we will be using the kind of content development workshop model that we're working on to get people out in, we have 2 wards right now, York Southweston and somewhere in Scarborough, I'm not sure.
Scarborough Southwest.
Scarborough Southwest, there you go. in Party Candibel's ward, and the idea is we will kind of hope to get people out who are interested in maybe running or who have run in the past, and really get people excited about the work we're trying to do so that we can build the online community.
Absolutely, and if anybody has an idea or a ward that you think would be receptive to having an event in the coming months, we'd love to hear about it, get started.
Yeah.
Katie would be the contact, we'll be all over that. So we want to give you a little snapshot. We know we're almost out of time, so we want to give you a bit of a snapshot in terms of what DemocracyKit is going to look like, feel like. I should say that this is totally just a prototype site. We're launching mid-April, we're on track. We said spring 2017, so we're launching mid-April. If you could sort of pencil in, mid-April. I don't know exactly the date yet. Into your calendars, it'd be great to have you out to that. So essentially the way DemocracyKit's going to function, it's really important, and this is what the team has focused on. We're going to have very practical resources, but one of the most important, or the most important resources in a resource in a campaign is the people and connections between people. So DemocracyKit in terms of a metric, just go back. DemocracyKit in terms of a metric, we're going to be looking at the degree to which we can train new volunteers and connect those volunteers to campaigns and sort of net new volunteers. And when you go to DemocracyKit, you'll be able to, like you would in a library directory, search for a category, a keyword, a location. You'll get like an abstract of the resource, the meta information relevant related to that resource, as well as you'll be able to search people, suppliers, campaign suppliers, and whatnot. And then you'll be able to find listings of people, get to know them a bit, their story. That's why we're going to be doing video content. So it's more of a conversation. And then as a user, you'll be able to go on, anybody in the public, and post your own profile. So you'll be able to upload your photo, post articles, audio files, video files, photo albums. So for example, go to the next slide, you might want to post a campaign update, write an update about how things are going on your trustee campaign in London, Ontario, right? Why, again, just to summarize, why are we doing this? In January, I had the pleasure, we can go to the next slide, Pat, of going to Calgary for the Ask Her project. Ask Her, there's an Albertan election underway municipally for this fall of 2017. And in Calgary, they're asking 20 women to run for office. And DemocracyKit was invited out to actually present at the campaign school in Calgary to the women and their team members. And so essentially, that's exactly why we started this project, which is to be a resources package for new candidates who want to put their name forward and for team members that want to support them. So I want to take any questions, and again, thanks for your time and having us to give this update. And again, to all the organizers of Civic Tech, we literally could not be doing this without you, and in many ways, we've identified that we are going to grow along with the Civic Tech movement and help to grow that in different parts of the country. So thank you. So I know we're basically out of time, I think, but we can take maybe a question or two.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think about the interface to the existing party system for those candidates that have been recruited through DemocracyKit?
Like at the interface in terms of how parties are supporting them?
Yeah, like are you thinking about people who are trying to run maybe outside of that structure, or is it a way to get people into that structure? Or?
Well, it's an interesting question. So essentially, for those of you that are new to the process, political elections, at different levels, parties have nomination processes typically. Well, first of all, there's at provincial, federal, there's parties that have nomination process, which whether we could have a debate about whether they're how open and transparent they are, but at least there's a set process to become a candidate. Whereas municipally, there are lots of candidates that have party support, that have union support, that have developer support, that have all sorts of various institutional support, but there's not really a transparent way to get that support. And so in some ways, that's always going to happen, and certainly in the kit, we're very practical. One of the first things and most important in preparing is developing strategic alliance, try to get that support. And we're going to maybe provide some tips on how to secure that kind of support, but also that I think increasingly that it's important that we want to connect people across the country and across municipalities so that a candidate who doesn't have that support has a fighting chance. Other questions? Well, I don't want to monopolize time, so thank you everybody, and feel free to join our group.
Okay, next up, Guerilla Archiving. So this is a project to harvest and preserve endangered data from US government websites. And presenting tonight, we have Matt Price, who teaches at the U of T in the history department at the iSchool, and Don Walker, PhD student at the Faculty of Information at the University of Toronto. Come on up.
All right. No, I don't. So we're talking about the Guerilla Archiving Project, which started here. I mean, actually, it started here in Hacker U, right?
Yeah.
On the 3rd floor. So for me, this project is, or this story is both extremely political and extremely personal, because it's a story about being welcomed here in this community and having this community figure out for me what it was I was trying to do. So, I mean, really, it's been enormous to be part of this group. So maybe I should say about what how Guerilla Archiving started. We, you know, in the wake of the election in the U.S., a bunch of us expat American faculty at U of T who had also been involved in the Right to Know campaign here, kind of challenging the Harper government on its crackdown on the transmission of environmental and scientific information. We kind of had, you know, this moment, a lot of Americans, I think a lot of Canadians also had this, where we were just lying across here on the floor for about 3 or 4 days. And like, wait a minute, what's going to happen to the EPA? They've already announced that the EPA is basically going to be destroyed in pretty much any form. So what kind of intervention might we try to get involved with? We learned that the Internet Archive was crawling the .gov web space and needed help in identifying deep web resources within the .gov domains. And so we said, let's see if anybody would like to help us do this, work on this project together. And you know, like totally incompetently, we like set up a Facebook group, and I've known Gabe for a long time. Gabe told me about Civic Tech a long time ago. Leah had been to my class about a month before. I said, I'll come. And I had not been. And then in a panic, I was like, I've got to go to Civic Tech. Maybe someone can help me figure this out. And you know, we needed a tool. We didn't really know what the tool was. And so I pitched it my second time here, and 2 people showed up. I was like, oh my God, only 2 people showed up. Nothing's going to happen. And I was like trying to explain what I thought I wanted, and not make myself very clear. And Michelle and Sonal were sitting there, and Michelle said, so we should build a Chrome extension? And I was like, oh, well, sure, that sounds good. She said, oh, yeah, we can do that. And I sat there. I don't know if any of you guys have worked with Michelle and Sonal, you know, at a Hacknight. You kind of can't talk to them. They're like doing stuff on their screens, going all these windows flashing up and stuff. And at the end of the night, we had a Chrome extension, basically. I mean, like the end of your night. Not at the end of the evening here. And then we had this event. Maybe we should move on. So, yeah. So we had our first event like 3 days later. It would have been impossible without this tool that Sonal and Michelle had built. And I should say, you know, but even before I came, I started that channel on Slack. And PatCon and JP, who's not here, and DC Walk, who I didn't know who that was for the longest time, were, you know, really active, helping me on that, or you know, making suggestions and stuff. And it was great on this day to meet JP for the first time, and to find that there were dozens of hackers really interested in trying to help this project. So this is the first event in Toronto on December 17th. And then what we found was that a lot of people were interested in this. Probably a lot of people in the room have been involved in projects that have kind of gone viral. Usually for me, projects that I'm involved with just die a quiet death. And this was like, you know, like a completely different world where, you know, I had a long interview with someone from Vice, and This American Life concept. We're going to send someone up to Toronto. And, you know, The Daily Show came up. And all these kind of crazy amount of press, which suggested that we had kind of hit a nerve somewhere that resonated with the feeling of impotence that a lot of us felt after the American election, and the feeling that it was possible to use the skills that we have. I mean, if you look around this room, the variety of skills that's in this room, to use those skills to affect genuine change on a national political level in the United States. So, maybe next slide. And so we've been having these events. We don't organize all of them, this group EDGI that we work for, but we have some other partners. But we've been about 20 of them since December. And here's one in New York and one in San Francisco Bay. I think they're super inspiring. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been to these events. It's something we think like 900 or 1,000 people, maybe more now. So people come out to these events and they work with the tools that we have been building, not just us in this room, but the people in the community that started here. Tools to identify endangered web pages and to identify endangered data sets and collect them and curate them. So it's been pretty exciting. I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit?
Yeah, so I guess coming out of those roughly 20 events, we think, there's an asterisk I want to.
Yeah.
We know somewhere in the area of 90,000 URLs for like that deep web data.gov sites have been included in the end of term call that the Internet Archive is doing, which means they are being preserved by the Internet Archive. And then in addition, things that we determined could not be crawled by the web crawler that the Internet Archive uses, we've gone ahead and done what now is sort of at events data preservation. So there's an asterisk there because the number's higher, and we can speak to some of our growing pains, but because of the way the project has unfolded, things are at stages, and we haven't always been thinking about how we're going to track or evaluate our outcomes while we're doing it. We're just like in this, like let's do it now. We have to preserve this stuff sort of frame of mind. Maybe the next slide. So yeah, but we've been kind of there's been like a sort of unfolding of the way that we're developing our tools, drawing heavily from my experiences as well, being just a bit about me. I've been coming to Civic Tech for I think over a year now. And was originally and still am involved in the Toronto Mesh project, which has was a really great way for me to get involved in sort of open, distributed development and community building. And so I've been like bringing that to bear on the work I get to do with this project as well. So we have now in the range of 20 to 30 active volunteers distributed across different cities. Most of them came out of attending an event and then wanted to stay involved and have like a technologist background. Other people have just found us because of some of the news coverage or other, I don't know how, links with friends, whatever, and want to be involved and feel like their skills can help. So we're kind of in this like, let's try and collaborate a lot of people who maybe have never met to work on this thing across a bunch of different places. And it's happening on GitHub, and it's happening on Slacks, probably too many Slacks. And so that's kind of why like we're sort of still learning as we go. I feel like every couple of days, like a better way we should be doing stuff. And then like, okay, like let's steer the ship in that direction. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's just it's been for me especially. I've been learning a lot from Dawn, who came in ahead of me, I think. But I think also for Dawn, it's been learning a lot about process. And thinking about what you do when actually there's someone interested in what you're doing. Like I said, it's a new experience for me. And how to coordinate resources to help people feel involved and to be able to make effective progress on things. It's been super exciting and interesting. And GitHub has been one of the places where that's been. Is there anything else we got? You guys know Gunter? Gunter is, out of gratitude to Michelle, I try to spread Gunter to every Slack channel and I'm invited to for this project. So we started out this project in a kind of panic. thinking about a crisis, and now that things are just starting to slow down a little bit, we recognize that of course the crisis brings opportunity, and that that watching a kind of hostile regime take power in the world's biggest military power has helped us to recognize that maybe the way we're organizing the curation of scientific data in the United States is kind of stupid. Like, why should we have the government be the main place where data gets stored when you can't really trust governments? We know that from lots and lots of history. So what does it take to build a different kind of infrastructure for science so that we can continue to have evidence-based policy debates about issues that science has something to say about? What does it mean to build accountability infrastructure where, for instance, we can monitor everything that the government says online and bring it back when they start lying about what they have or have not done? So we have these events, and we have this project of kind of curating or grabbing data, but that's just a kind of the tip of the iceberg. And I think what's really exciting is to think about how we can take the energy that's already been invested in this project and turn it into a sustainable, long-term movement to really transform the relationship between science, rationality, and politics. So,
Yeah, and maybe
just
just
do it.
yeah. And then just to speak to that a little more, so our development and collaboration right now is really focused on developing these tools that go to support the events, and that's been shifting. And we had already been moving into another sort of set of tools to help us analysts monitor changes to the websites that are government websites. But I think now too we're looking at working with other projects that are already beginning to address some of the issues and questions that Matt raised around what do we do about long-term, maybe distributed forms of storing data. And so looking at stuff like the DAT project or IPFS, and sort of also then figuring out how we sustain within our own community the interest that is already existing, but then how do we bridge across and sort of to these other projects and figure out how to work together.
Just a quick question. So when you guys archive a site, is it just like a screenshot, or is it actually like usable?
So it's never a screenshot.
Okay.
It's the some version. So if we have a web page, it's the HTML and the associated resources. And if sometimes it's easy to just grab that, and the Internet Archive will do that on its own. Basically, we just have to tell them, make sure you get this page. And sometimes it's harder because the actual resources are obscured or obfuscated somehow. And what you see is just like a kind of dead image on the screen when there's a living document behind it, say. And then you have to do some coding to actually acquire that kind of stuff.
So if you've ever been to the, or if anyone now is interested, you can go to the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine and see what archived site looks like from them, and they sort of retain their interactivity and you engage with them much like the website as it existed. When we're not able to put stuff into the Internet Archive and we're doing that extra level of downloading, what we're getting is the data sets in whatever forms they're made available. So it's usually a range of formats like CSVs. There's a lot of CSVs, there's a lot of spreadsheets. There's not like amazing, for like data, it's not great. It's not like a pretty good choice of how that data is being used. And then like that's like zipped, and we have we're contributing to this data refuge catalog, which is an open data platform. It's the CCAN repository for the data sets that we've saved.
Who supports the Internet Archive group? Where do they store their stuff?
Well, I was actually there. They store it in a big Church of Christ Scientist, right near the Panhandle, near Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. And they have, I guess, a couple of other places where they store stuff too. And they were founded by Brewster Kahle, who founded Alexa. So he was a billionaire, and they have lots of private foundation money.